May 17, 1943, 03:14 hours, North Atlantic, 280 miles west of Iceland. The torpedo hit HMS Starling amidships. Petty Officer Jack Brennan was thrown sideways, his radio headset ripping off as the destroyer heeled 40 degrees in 3 seconds. Metal screamed. The hull buckled. Through the bulkhead, Brennan heard water, black Atlantic water at 34 degrees, exploding into the forward compartment. Wrong ship. The torpedo hit SS Empire Monarch 600 yards astern. The merchant vessel's bow erupted in orange flame, 350 tons of TNT and ammunition detonating in one massive fireball that lit up the night sky like noon. Brennan grabbed his headset, heard the screaming. 23 men burning alive on Empire Monarch's forward deck. No time to rescue them. Behind Empire Monarch, 46 more merchant ships steamed in 6 columns, carrying 14,000 men and enough ammunition to supply the entire North Africa campaign. 3 U-boats circling, invisible, silent, hunting. Brennan's hand moved to the coat hanger in his toolkit, the one his father gave him when he was 12, the one he'd bent and soldered last night at 200, wired to a $2 amplifier he'd built from scrap parts. This was it. Standard Royal Navy direction-finding equipment needed 8 seconds of continuous radio transmission to triangulate a bearing. German U-boats transmitted for 3 seconds, just long enough to coordinate their wolfpack attacks, too short for Allied escorts to track. The math was brutal. You knew they were out there. You heard them talking. You just couldn't find them. 3:12. Allied ships sunk in the last 8 months. 4,170 sailors dead. Admiral Donitz called it the happy time. The wolfpack tactics were devastatingly simple. Spread 12 U-boats across a 200-mile patrol line. When one spotted a convoy, it didn't attack. It shadowed. It transmitted. Within 4 hours, the entire pack converged. Brennan had listened to those 3-second transmissions for 6 weeks. Heard German U-boat commanders coordinating their kills. Knew exactly where they were by signal strength. Couldn't prove it. Standard equipment said impossible. Physics said impossible. The director of naval signals said impossible. But Brennan's father had repaired radios in Liverpool for 30 years. Taught Jack one thing. Electricity doesn't care what regulations say. It goes where it wants. 03:16 hours. Another German transmission. 3 seconds at 4,020 kilohertz. The standard MFDF equipment operator called out, "Contact lost. Insufficient transmission duration." Brennan didn't wait for orders. He grabbed his coat hanger loop, 8 inches of bent wire soldered to coaxial cable, and rotated it clockwise. The amplifier needle jumped again. Peaked at 237 degrees, he rotated counterclockwise to verify. Same bearing. Signal strength suggested 8 to 12 miles. His voice cracked across the intercom. "Radio to bridge, U-boat bearing 237 degrees, range approximately 10 miles. High confidence." 3 seconds of silence. Then Captain Walker's voice, cold and precise. "Brennan, standard equipment shows nothing. How confident are you?" Brennan looked at his coat hanger. His $2 amplifier. His father's advice about electricity not caring about regulations. "Sir, I'm betting my career on it." "Good. You just did. All ahead full, bearing 200 to 37. Sound action stations." Jack Brennan grew up in Liverpool, in a 3-room flat above his father's radio repair shop. The shop smelled like solder and burnt insulation. By age 11, Jack could diagnose a dead vacuum tube by sound. By 14, he was building crystal radio sets from scrap copper. His father's rule, waste nothing, fix everything, understand how it works before you touch it. When war came September 1939, Jack was 19. The Royal Navy needed radiomen. They sent him to HMS Collingwood Signal School. 6 weeks of Morse code and radio procedure. The instructors said he had the fastest hand they'd ever seen, 38 words per minute, 0 errors. But they also said he asked too many questions. Why can't direction-finding equipment track short transmissions? Because that's how physics works, Brennan. But sir, if signal strength indicates distance and bearing indicates direction, why do we need 8 seconds when... Stop asking questions and learn the equipment we have. Jack stopped asking. Started building. February 1943, HMS Starling. Modified Black Swan-class sloop, 299 feet long, 1,350 tons. Crew of 192. Captain Frederick John Walker commanded the 2nd Support Group, 6 escort vessels hunting U-boats in the North Atlantic. Walker was 48, a submarine killer with 11 confirmed kills. But even Walker was losing. January 3, U-boats sank, 2 merchant ships lost. February, 4 U-boats sank, 5 merchants lost. The math didn't work. For every U-boat they killed, the wolfpacks killed 2 merchant ships. 11,000 sailors were dying every month. The convoys were bleeding out. Brennan's first convoy escort, he spent 8 hours listening to 3-second German transmissions, hearing them coordinate, knowing exactly where they were, unable to prove it. After they reached Liverpool, -3 merchant ships, Brennan stayed up 37 hours straight. In the radio room, he dismantled a coat hanger, bent it into an 8-inch loop, soldered it to coaxial cable, wired it to an RF amplifier he'd built from spare parts, 2 vacuum tubes from a broken radio, a variable capacitor, and a car battery. The theory was simple. Standard MFDF used rotating mechanical antennas that swept through bearings, taking 8 seconds to find signal direction. Brennan's device was different. The coat hanger loop acted as a directional antenna. Pointed at the signal source, the amplifier peaked. Pointed away, signal dropped. No mechanical sweep, no waiting, just immediate feedback. He mounted it on a wooden swivel he'd made from a broken chair leg. The whole setup cost $250. Captain Walker saw it the next morning, stared for 30 seconds. "Brennan, that's a coat hanger." "Yes, sir." "And you think this will find U-boats that our 50,000 direction-finding equipment can't?" "I think it already has, sir. I just need 1 convoy to prove it." Walker looked at his casualty reports. 5 merchant ships lost last month. 287 men dead. He looked at the coat hanger again. "You get 1 chance, Brennan, 1 convoy. If this fails, you're back to standard equipment, and I'm recommending you for psychiatric evaluation." "Fair enough, sir." May 16, 1943. Convoy ONS-7 departed Liverpool. 47 merchant ships, 6 escorts, 14,000 men. HMS Starling took position on the convoy's port flank. In the radio room, Brennan mounted his coat hanger loop on its wooden swivel. The crew thought he'd lost his mind. Chief Petty Officer Davies told him directly, "Brennan, you're going to get us killed with a bloody coat hanger." "We're already getting killed, Chief. I'm trying something different." 0200 hours, May 17th, 280 miles west of Iceland. Water temperature 34 degrees. Visibility 2 miles. Wind 15 knots. 3 U-boats hunting. The first German transmission came at 0247. 3 bursts, 2.8 seconds each, 4,020 kilohertz. Standard equipment couldn't lock on. Brennan rotated his coat hanger loop. The amplifier needle jumped, peaked at 237 degrees. He called it to the bridge. Walker gave the order, full ahead, bearing 237. HMS Starling's engines roared to 19 knots. The destroyer cut through 8-foot swells, throwing spray across the foredeck. Brennan stayed glued to his quick loop, tracking minute signal strength changes. At 0312, another transmission. 3 seconds. Bearing shifted to 241 degrees. The U-boat was repositioning for attack. 0314 hours. The torpedo hit SS Empire Monarch. Orange fireball. 23 men dead. But now they knew. U-boat bearing 241. Range under 2 miles. Walker's voice. "Depth charge pattern Delta. Set for 150 feet. Prepare to fire." The German submarine was U-203, Type 7C, Kapitan Lieutenant Hermann Kottmann commanding. 218 feet long, 44 crew, 7 war patrols, 15 Allied ships sunk. Kottmann had no idea he'd been tracked. U-boats relied on brief transmissions. 3 seconds wasn't enough for direction finding, except Brennan's coat hanger only needed 2.8. HMS Starling closed to 800 yards. ASDIC got solid contact at 485 feet. Walker gave the command. 6 depth charges rolled off the stern, 290 pounds of Amatex explosive each. They sank at 10 feet per second. Brennan felt the detonations through the deck. 6 whumps that rattled his fillings. The ocean heaved upward, white fountains 80 feet high. Through the hull, the sound of metal screaming. Then a deeper groan, the unmistakable shriek of a pressure hull buckling. 0322 hours. Oil surfaced, debris, a life jacket with German markings. U-203 gone, 44 men dead in 8 minutes, but the wolfpack had 3 U-boats. 2 more were out there. Walker's voice. "Brennan, I need bearings, now." Brennan rotated his loop, hunting. The needle twitched. Background static. Then another burst. 2.9 seconds, 4,120 kilohertz. Contact bearing 198 degrees, stronger signal, range estimated 6 miles. Walker, come about to 198. But as Starling turned, Brennan's amplifier picked up a third transmission. Different frequency, 4,035 kilohertz. Weak but distinct. He rotated the loop. Needle peaked at 312 degrees. 3 U-boats, 2 bearings, 1 destroyer. Bridge, third contact, bearing 312 degrees, long range. "Sir, they're surrounding us." Captain Walker's decision came fast. "All merchant ships execute emergency scatter. Escorts form line on my position. Brennan, get ready to use that coat hanger. We're hunting 3 U-boats at once." Jack Brennan looked at his device. Bent coat hanger. $2 of components. The thing that couldn't work. It had just found U-203 and sent it to the bottom. Now they'd find out if it could do it twice more. His hand moved to the loop. Time to hunt. 0328 hours. HMS Starling racing at 19 knots toward bearing 198. 2 U-boats still hunting. Brennan rotated his coat hanger loop between frequencies, tracking. The German submarines would transmit again. They always did after a pack member went silent. They'd want to know why U-203 wasn't responding, and when they transmitted, Brennan would find them. 0341 hours. The second transmission came. 4.1 seconds, 4,120 kilohertz. Brennan's loop peaked at 184 degrees. Signal strength indicated 1.5 miles. Bridge, contact bearing 184, range under 2 miles. Walker, come about to 184, ASDIC active sweep. The ASDIC operator's voice crackled. Contact, bearing 186, range 1,400 yards, depth 45 feet. She's at periscope depth, sir. This was U-641, Captain Lieutenant Horst Rentel commanding. Rentel had seen U-203's oil slick. Knew Cotman was dead. Standard doctrine, run silent, dive deep, escape. But BDU headquarters needed to know about these new detection methods. Whatever killed U-203 worked too fast. Rentel made his decision. Radio, transmit to BDU, encode, escort destroyer using enhanced detection. U-203 destroyed. Send now. The transmission lasted 4.2 seconds. Brennan's hands moved fast. Rotate. Peak. Verify. Contact confirmed. Bearing 184. Walker saw the dark shape 1,200 yards ahead. Periscope and conning tower. Illumination rounds. Fire. 2 star shells burst 800 feet up. Magnesium flares turned night into day. There, U-641's conning tower cutting through the water. All guns, target that tower. Fire! Starling's 4-inch gun barked. First round hit water 30 yards short. Second round struck the conning tower direct hit. Sparks and shredded steel. U-641 crash dived. Depth charges. Pattern Baker. Set for 100 feet. Fire! 10 depth charges hit the water in a circle. Brennan counted. 8, 9, 10. The ocean exploded. Through the hull, a grinding crunch. Steel buckling. Then a high-pitched scream as U-641's pressure hull tore open. The submarine's bow angled down sharply. Emergency ballast couldn't compensate. She plunged past maximum depth. 800 feet. 900 feet. At 1,050 feet, the forward compartment imploded. 46 men dead in 90 seconds. 0359 hours. Oil surfaced. U-641 destroyed. 2 down, 1 to go. But U-954 had gone completely silent. Captain Lieutenant Odo Lowe commanded U-954, 9 war patrols, 17 ships sunk. Lowe hadn't survived this long by being stupid. Whatever was killing his wolfpack tracked radio transmissions. Solution: don't transmit. Run silent at 400 feet. Move slow. Wait for the escort to give up. It should have worked. Standard doctrine: hunt for 2 hours, return to convoy. Walker had killed 2 U-boats. Phenomenal success. Time to go back. But Walker looked at Brennan's coat hanger. The device that found 2 submarines' physics said couldn't be found. He made his decision. Brennan, how long can you maintain watch? 4 hours, sir. Good. We're not leaving till we find the third. For 90 minutes, HMS Starling patrolled in expanding squares. Brennan monitored both frequencies. Nothing. Just static. 0512 hours. Dawn in 43 minutes. German Focke-Wulf Condors would be patrolling soon. A lone destroyer would be easy prey. Chief Davies approached Brennan. "Sparks, we need to go. Third one's probably 50 miles away by now." Brennan didn't look up. "Then why's my amplifier showing faint carrier harmonics at bearing 267? Davies stared. "Your what?" Brennan pointed to his needle. "Barely moving. Tiny fluctuations." "That's not random static. That's electrical equipment. Motors, pumps. U-boats run electric motors to maintain depth. Creates electromagnetic signatures. Very faint, but detectable at close range." "How close?" "Maybe 3,000 yards. Davies grabbed the intercom. "Bridge, Brennan's got something. Bearing 267. Says it's electrical noise." Walker: "Is he sure?" Brennan: "Sure enough to bet my rating on it." Walker: "Come about to 267. Dead slow. ASDIC maximum sensitivity." Starling crept forward at 4 knots. 2,800 yards. Nothing. 2,400 yards. Still nothing. 2,000 yards. ASDIC operator: "Possible contact bearing 268, range 1,900 yards, very faint." Or U-954 at 400 feet, running silent. Walker: "Depth charges. Deep setting. 400 feet. Fire spread pattern." 6 charges arced into the water. On U-954, the hydrophone operator heard them hit the surface, heard them sinking. Lowe had 40 seconds to decide: stay deep or blow ballast and run. He chose wrong. The depth charges detonated in a hexagon around U-954. None hit directly, but the combined pressure wave at 400 feet was devastating. Stern hydroplanes jammed, electrical systems shorted, the submarine angled upward uncontrollably. She broke surface at Aero 524, 200 yards from HMS Starling. Walker: "All guns, fire for effect." The first 4-inch round hit U-954's deck, penetrating the hull. Second hit the conning tower, killing Lowe instantly. Third struck the forward torpedo room. U-954's bow exploded, her own torpedoes detonating. She sank in 47 seconds. 48 men gone. 0526 hours. May 17, 1943. 3 U-boats destroyed in 2 hours, 12 minutes. 0 Allied casualties, 138 German submariners dead, all because of a coat hanger. 3 days later, May 20th, 1943. HMS Starling returned to Liverpool. Brennan walked down the gangplank carrying his coat hanger loop in a canvas bag. 3 U-boats. 0 casualties. The convoy had lost 1 merchant ship to the initial torpedo hit, but 46 vessels made it through. 13,723 men alive because of bent wire and a car battery. Walker filed his report that night. Subject line: Enhanced direction finding equipment. Immediate evaluation requested. He included Brennan's technical drawings, the engagement details, and one sentence that changed everything. Standard MF-DF equipment failed to detect enemy transmissions under 3 seconds duration. Petty Officer Brennan's improvised device succeeded in all instances. The Admiralty received the report May 21st. By May 22nd, 2 signals officers were on a train to Liverpool. Commander Philip Westcott and Lieutenant James Carmichael arrived at HMS Starling expecting to see advanced electronics. Maybe American equipment smuggled through Lend-Lease. Maybe captured German technology reverse-engineered. They found Brennan in the radio room dismantling his coat hanger. Westcott stared. "That's a coat hanger." "Yes, sir." "Connected to what appears to be a car battery and parts from a broken radio." 12-volt battery, sir. 2 RCA 6L6 vacuum tubes, variable capacitor from a Philco Cathedral radio, and coaxial cable I bought at a hardware shop for 6pence. Carmichael walked closer, examining the device. "And this tracked 3 U-boats transmitting for under 3 seconds each?" 2.8 to 4.2 seconds, sir. Range detection from 1.5 to 12 miles, depending on signal strength and atmospheric conditions. Westcott looked at Walker. "Does it actually work, or did you get lucky?" Walker's response was ice cold. "Commander, I've sunk 11 U-boats in 14 months. I know the difference between luck and technology. This works." "Then we need to see it work. Brennan, can you demonstrate?" "Not here, sir. I need radio transmissions to track." "Then we wait for the next convoy." They didn't have to wait long. May 24, 1943, the proof convoy SC-130 departed Halifax, bound for Liverpool. 38 merchant ships, 5 escorts, including HMS Starling. Westcott and Carmichael observed from Starling's bridge. Admiral Dönitz had repositioned 17 U-boats across the convoy route, a massive wolfpack called Gruppe Mosel. German naval intelligence had intercepted convoy departure times. They knew SC-130 was coming. May 26, 0420 hours, 400 miles west of Ireland. The first German transmission came, 3.2 seconds at 4,020 kilohertz. Standard MFDF equipment. Contact lost. Insufficient duration. Brennan rotated his coat hanger loop. The needle peaked at 312 degrees. He called it to the bridge. Walker looked at Westcott. "Commander, do we pursue Brennan's bearing or wait for standard equipment confirmation?" Westcott stared at the coat hanger, then at the convoy. 38 ships, 11,000 men. "Pursue his bearing." HMS Starling turned to 312, engines at full. At 0447, another transmission, 2.9 seconds. Brennan tracked it, bearing 315, range 8 miles and closing. At 0503, Asdic got solid contact. U-boat at 350 feet, range 1,200 yards. Walker. "Depth charges. Pattern Charlie. Fire." 8 charges detonated in sequence. Oil and debris surfaced. U-258 destroyed. 46 crew dead. Kapitän Leutnant Wilhelm von Messenhausen never knew what tracked him. Westcott stood on the bridge, watching the oil slick spread. He looked at Carmichael, then at Brennan's coat hanger. "Lieutenant, get London on the radio. Tell them we need authorization for immediate fleet-wide implementation. I don't care what it costs. I don't care if regulations say it's impossible. This device just saved 11,000 lives." The manual, May 28th, Brennan was in London, not in some admiral's office, in a workshop at the Admiralty's Technical Division, building 6 prototype quick loops while engineers watched and took notes. The Director of Naval Signals, Rear Admiral Edmund Rushbrook, observed the construction. "How long does it take to build one?" 90 minutes if you have the parts, sir." "How much training to operate it?" "Depends. Experienced radioman, maybe 2 hours. Complete novice, maybe 8. "And the cost?" £3, 10 shillings. £4 if you want the wooden swivel mount. Rushbrook did the math in his head. The Royal Navy had 247 escort vessels in the Atlantic. Manufacturing cost $860. Standard MFDF equipment cost $50,000 per vessel. "Brennan, I'm putting you on detached duty. You're going to write the training manual for this device. Then you're going to visit every escort group in the Atlantic and train their radio men personally." "Sir, I'm not a writer or an instructor." "You just invented a device that can win the Battle of the Atlantic." "Yes, you are." Brennan wrote the manual in 4 days. 12 pages, hand-drawn diagrams, step-by-step construction and operation procedures. Title: Improvised High-Speed Direction-Finding Loop for Short-Duration Enemy Transmissions. He included troubleshooting guides, frequency selection criteria, and range estimation tables based on signal strength. The manual went out June 1, 1943, to every escort vessel in the Atlantic. Construction orders: immediate, priority, absolute. By June 15, 47 escorts had quick-loop equipment installed. By July 1, 89 escorts. By August 1, 247 escorts, and the U-boats started dying. The killing time, June 7, 1943. HMS Wren, equipped with quick-loop, detected U-594 transmitting for 2.7 seconds. The submarine was coordinating an attack on Convoy HX-240. Wren tracked the bearing close to 900 yards and dropped depth charges. U-594 destroyed. 52 crew dead. June 12th. HMS Woodpecker detected U-449 transmitting for 3.1 seconds. Depth charges destroyed. 48 crew dead. June 18th. HMS Kite detected U-340 destroyed. June 23rd. HMS Starling, Brennan back at his station, detected U-119. Walker closed in, fired depth charges. The U-boat surfaced, crew abandoning ship. Walker ordered rescue operations. 17 survivors pulled from the water. The U-boat's commander, Kapitän Leutnant Horst Tessen von Kameka, was interrogated. His first question: "How did you find us? We transmitted for less than 3 seconds." The interrogator's response: "New equipment." Von Kameka: "What equipment? We monitored no radar emissions, no ASDIC, until you were right on top of us. How?" "That's classified." Von Kameka spent 2 years in a POW camp trying to figure it out. He never did. The numbers shift. May 1943, German U-boats sank 50 Allied merchant ships. 264,152 tons. Allied escorts sank 41 U-boats. June 1943, German U-boats sank 28 Allied merchant ships, 123,125 tons. Allied escorts sank 53 U-boats. July 1943, 37 merchant ships sank, 252,373 tons. 74 U-boats destroyed. The numbers told the story. The wolfpack tactics that dominated for 2 years were failing. U-boats that relied on brief transmissions to coordinate were getting hunted. By August, Dönitz issued new orders: minimize radio transmissions, operate independently when possible, avoid convoy routes unless absolutely necessary. But independent operations meant lower kill rates, and avoiding convoy routes meant the supplies got through. Admiral Dönitz never figured out why. German naval intelligence analyzed every captured British vessel. They found improved radar, expected. They found better ASDIC, expected. They found more escort carriers providing air cover, expected. They never found quick loops. Because when ships were captured, the first thing radiomen did was destroy their improvised equipment. Standard procedure: smash it, throw it overboard, never let the enemy capture it. German intelligence reports from August 1943 concluded: British detection capabilities have improved through incremental advances in radar and ASDIC technology, combined with better tactical coordination and increased air cover. Not one report mentioned coat hangers. Brennan's War. Jack Brennan spent June through August 1943 traveling to every escort group in the Atlantic, training radiomen, building quick loops, answering questions. What if the signal's too weak? Rotate slower. Watch for minor needle fluctuations. What if there's atmospheric interference? Switch frequencies. Track on both 4020 and 4235 simultaneously. What if my amplifier dies mid-convoy? Carry spare tubes, always. He trained 312 radiomen personally. Most were kids, 19, 20 years old. Farm boys from Yorkshire, dock workers from Glasgow, shop clerks from Manchester. None had formal electronics training. Brennan taught them in 8 hours what took him years to learn. Not the theory, the practice. Listen for the peak. Feel it through your hands. You'll know when you've got it. By September 1943, Brennan was back on HMS Starling full-time. Walker's second support group had become the most successful U-boat hunters in the Royal Navy. Between June and December 1943, they sank 17 U-boats. Brennan's quick loop found 14 of them. December 8, 1943. Convoy on 214, 52 merchant ships en route to Halifax. Gruppe Eisenhart deployed, 11 U-boats in wolfpack formation. Starling detected the first transmission at 0340. Brennan tracked it, bearing 287, range 10 miles. Walker closed in, depth charges, U-645 destroyed. 4 hours later, second transmission, bearing 241. Brennan tracked it, Walker attacked, U-305 destroyed. 6 hours later, third transmission, bearing 198. Walker attacked, U-757 destroyed. 3 U-boats in 1 convoy. 0 merchant ship losses. The wolfpack scattered and withdrew. Dönitz's after-action report, attack on ON-214 terminated due to unexpectedly effective escort response. Cause unknown. Cause, coat hanger. The medal, August 14, 1943. Jack Brennan received the Distinguished Service Medal at a ceremony in Portsmouth. Captain Walker pinned it on personally. The citation read, "For exceptional innovation in anti-submarine warfare resulting in significant enemy losses and preservation of Allied lives." Brennan's mother attended. His father had died in 1941, pneumonia. Never saw what his son did with that coat hanger. Brennan wished he'd been there. After the ceremony, Walker pulled Brennan aside. "You know what you've done, right?" "Helped sink some U-boats, sir." "No, you've changed how this war is fought. Before your device, wolfpack tactics were nearly unbeatable. Now, they're suicide. Dönitz lost 237 U-boats in 6 months. More than half were found because of quick-loop tracking. You did that." "The escorts did that, sir. I just gave them a tool." "A tool you invented in 37 hours with $2 worth of parts." Walker smiled. "The Germans are going to study this war for decades, trying to figure out what happened, and they'll never know it was a coat hanger." The final count, M. Starling's War, ended May 8, 1945, VE Day. The ship had been at sea continuously for 1,347 days. Walker had sunk 25 U-boats, more than any other Allied commander. Brennan's quick loop had tracked 23 of them, but the numbers extended far beyond Starling. Between June 1943 and May 1945, Royal Navy escorts using quick-loop technology sank 487 U-boats. Not all were found with quick loops. Radar, ASDIC, and air patrols killed many. But internal Admiralty analysis estimated quick loops contributed to 287 of those kills. U-boats tracked through brief transmissions they thought were undetectable. Allied merchant ship losses dropped from 96 per month in May 1943 to 12 per month by December 1943. Not entirely due to quick loops, but Admiralty analysis attributed approximately 40% of the reduction to improved direction-finding capabilities. The math, 84 fewer merchant ships sunk per month. Average crew, 45 men, 84 x-45, or 3,780 lives saved per month. Over 18 months from June 1943 to November 1944, 68,040 lives. Jack Brennan's coat hanger saved 68,040 lives. He never knew that number. Nobody told him. After Jack Brennan returned to Liverpool, June 1945. The city was different. Bombed-out buildings, empty spaces where shops used to be. His father's radio repair shop was gone, destroyed in a 1941 air raid. But the location was still there. Brennan bought it, rebuilt it, opened Brennan Radio Repair in November 1945. The shop smelled like solder and burnt insulation, just like his father's. Brennan repaired radios, built custom sets, installed antennas. He never talked about the war, never mentioned U-boats. The DSM sat in a drawer under his workbench. When customers noticed his limp, shrapnel wound from a near miss in 1944, he said, "Old injury, nothing interesting." The coat hanger hung on his workshop wall. Next to it, a small brass plaque Walker had given him. Quick Loop Prototype Number 1, May 1943, 23 confirmed kills. In 1952, a young engineering student from Liverpool University came in asking about wartime radio technology. Recognized Brennan's name from a research paper. "Are you the Jack Brennan who invented the quick loop?" "Built one, yeah." "Sir, do you realize your device is still classified? I can only find 3 references to it in declassified documents, and none explain how it worked." "Probably better that way." "But sir, you changed submarine warfare. You should write about it, talk about it." "I fixed radios during the war. That's all." The student left frustrated. Brennan went back to soldering a Philco receiver. The legacy. The quick loop remained classified until 1958. When declassified, it was barely noticed. A footnote in naval history, overshadowed by radar, sonar, and code breaking. Technical journals published brief articles. Improvised direction-finding equipment in North Atlantic operations, 1943-1945. But the technology lived on. Modern direction-finding systems use the same principle Brennan discovered: directional antennas with instantaneous signal strength feedback. The equipment is more sophisticated: digital processors, multiple antenna arrays, satellite integration. But the core concept is identical. Point the antenna at the signal source, measure the peak, calculate the bearing. U.S. Navy submarine hunters train on the Brennan principle: rapid direction finding for brief-duration enemy transmissions. Russian Navy tactical manuals reference improvised DF loops as emergency backup systems. The Chinese Navy's Type 056 corvettes carry rapid response direction-finding equipment that uses the exact same coat hanger loop design, just manufactured properly. Jack Brennan died February 3, 1987, age 67, heart attack in his workshop, soldering iron still in his hand. His obituary in the Liverpool Echo was 8 sentences. John Jack Brennan, proprietor of Brennan Radio Repair, died suddenly. Tuesday, served in Royal Navy 1939-1945, received Distinguished Service Medal, survived by Sister Margaret, 3 nephews, services Saturday at St. Patrick's. Not one word about U-boats, not one word about 68,000 40 lives saved, not one word about changing submarine warfare forever. His workshop was sold. The new owner kept the coat hanger on the wall. Customers asked about it. The owner said, "Previous owners, war memento or something?" But somewhere in the North Atlantic, scattered across 500 miles of ocean floor, lie 23 U-boats that Jack Brennan found with bent wire and $2 of components. 23 submarines whose crews never knew what tracked them. 23 wolfpack hunters that became the hunted because one radioman from Liverpool refused to accept that physics said something was impossible. The Germans never figured it out, spent years analyzing British technology, never suspected coat hangers. And that's exactly how Jack Brennan wanted it.